Basically what aid in attendance is, it's special monthly compensation L. And if you need assistance on not a daily basis, but
a regular
basis, you can apply for this benefit. So some of the activities of daily living that you would need assistance with would be like getting dressed, if you need help putting on your shoes or socks, or you can't lift a shirt over your head because you have some kind of shoulder injury that limits your mobility.
Buttoning shirts. A lot of times people with neuropathy or upper extremity problems have trouble with that.
That's a big one. And even zipping up a zipper, anything with fine motor skills. Another one would be bathing or using the restroom. If you're not able to have the mobility to stand in a shower, or even if you need a shower chair and you can't wash your entire body, having someone help you with that, or using the restroom.
And transferring to and from. So getting in and out of the shower, even if you're able maybe to wash it yourself with your upper extremities, maybe your lower extremities are a little unsteady, or you get dizzy due to a heart condition, and you need someone to monitor you getting in and out. Same thing for sitting up and down, like from the toilet. Sometimes maybe you can take care of business by yourself, but you're not able to safely transfer from a sitting to a standing position.
And you mentioning having a heart condition, that's another one. Or COPD, a severe breathing condition where you, even getting up out of bed, you're out of breath and you cannot physically walk to the restroom, or you get extremely tired and fatigued trying to brush your teeth, things like that. In very severe cases, the inability to feed yourself, especially with Parkinson's disease, MS, those really debilitating degenerative diseases, sometimes it gets to the point where you can't feed yourself. So that is an additional activity of daily living that would be included.
Also, to a less severe degree than not being able to physically feed yourself, they do consider preparing meals as well. That's something where a lot of times I'll hear from clients, like, I can't stand long enough to actually cook. I can press the microwave button, but I can't stand there for 30 seconds while it goes.
And then, so those are the activities of daily living. And then there's a kind of separate, which can be included in that, or completely separate, which would be the incapacity physically or mentally, which requires care or assistance or regular basis to protect the claimant from hazards or dangers in their daily environment. And so this is something that people don't think about, because when you think of aid in attendance, you think of the physical issues, but that mental inability to protect yourself, severe PTSD, dementia, there are multiple mental conditions that can lead to memory issues. So I have vets who leave on the stove, and then that causes a fire, or it could have caused a fire. The wife runs in and it has been on for an hour. What are some examples you have?
With dementia, perhaps you need to be supervised so you don't leave the house and get lost and not be able to come back. Another thing that we find with maybe severe depression or PTSD cases is sometimes the veteran will not eat, will not get dressed, will not change their clothes, like mentally just cannot do it, cannot bring yourself to do it. And sometimes, a lot of times, I'll hear from the veteran's spouse that he needs reminders to even brush his teeth. He needs reminders to eat. If I did not bring him food and put it in front of him, he wouldn't feed himself.
So even though aid in attendance is available for those mental conditions, I do caution people, because if you need aid in attendance, you're most likely going to lose your capacity to handle your finances, and VA is going to
trigger an incompetency
proceeding. So I have a lot of vets come to me who are like, I have severe PTSD, I can't remember to do things, I can't remember to pay my bills, and I say, okay, yeah, if you need that, but you're going to most likely have to have a fiduciary, and that's an entire process. So make sure that's something that you think about when discussing aid and attendance benefits for mental issues. Usually it's to the point where it's severe enough that you should probably have someone managing your finances, but the reason why VA has this is because they want to make sure that veterans aren't being taken advantage of. There could be situations where potentially you may be able to keep it if you have a doctor's letter or something, but it just is a red flag for me when I see a mental case and they want aid and attendance, I'm like, okay, well, are you ready to potentially be proposed incompetent?
That's a great point. That's something definitely to consider. One thing that we left out that could go to physical or the mental need for aid and attendance is medication management. That's a big one. So either maybe you can't physically open the containers that your pills are in, maybe you forget to take them, maybe just like we spoke about earlier, you have a lack of motivation and just wouldn't take them yourself unless you're the person who's assisting you literally lays them out for you each morning. And I know a lot of veterans caregivers do that.
Or you have a condition where, like bipolar, where you may not, or schizophrenia is a huge one, where you may not want to take those medications. If you get into a manic state or if you get into an episode, you have someone there to make sure that you're consistently taking your medication. So that is a big one that we did not include. A lot of times VA will deny people for aid and attendance because they say you need to have 100% rating.
Yeah.
And you don't. You don't need to have 100% rating to be able to have aid and attendance.
It's something that the VA has in their manual when they're looking at these cases, but it's not something that's in the actual regulation. So legally there is not a basis to state this, but we do hear that from the regional office all the time. We found that you have the need for aid and attendance, however, you do not have a 100% service-connected condition. You have to have a service-connected condition, and it has to be severe enough to interfere with your activities and cause you the need for regular aid and attendance, but there's not a specific rating requirement.
Absolutely. It's basically that need for regular aid and attendance and whether you need assistance with your activities of daily living. It doesn't even have to be all of them. It can be some. You could just need the protection from hazards, or you could need assistance going to the bathroom and bathing or getting dressed. You don't have to have all of them. It really is a case-by-case analysis, but it is an important benefit that assists veterans and their caregivers who help them.